Hola, hola. No te imaginas lo increíble que estuvo el viaje a Galicia. ¿Sí? ¿La pasaron increíble? Increíble es poco. Todo estuvo perfecto. Ahora te muestro fotos.
This dialogue works perfectly okay, but notice we kept repeating increíble. There's so much more we could have said. So, though you could get away with saying increíble for everything, we are here to help you expand your ability to express yourself in Spanish. Yo soy Maura, the Spring Spanish, and let's now look at 9 ways in which you can substitute this little word so you can show off your personality in Spanish just as much as you do in your native language. Ready? Empecemos. Número 1. When increíble means amazing. Let's rewind that first dialogue and spice it up a bit with some alternatives that also mean amazing.
Hola, hola. No te imaginas lo fabuloso que estuvo el viaje a Galicia. ¿Sí? ¿La pasaron de maravilla? De maravilla es poco. Todo estuvo perfecto. Ahora te muestro fotos. Fuimos a unos lugares impresionantes.
Alright, so why do you need to watch this video when you could just look for synonyms to this word? The reality is that increíble, when it means amazing, is actually kind of slang. Most translators and dictionaries will only cover increíble when it means imposible. And even then, most of the alternatives they give are rarely used by natives. Back to the dialogue, here are the words that I used. Fabuloso, de maravilla, impresionante. Guys, before we continue, just a heads up. At the end of this video, we'll be covering an alternative chunk that is, well, a curse word, a bad word, a vulgar expression. Hardly. Just my favorite chunk for when increíble means hard to believe. The best news about fabuloso, de maravilla, and impresionante is that these words transcend cultures, meaning though some nationalities may use some more than others, this is more of an individual personality type of choice. I never say fabuloso, for example, but many people in my family do, and I do say impresionante quite a lot. Por cierto, a very funny derivative of this one is impresionante. It is not the correct word, but Paulísima will explain the story behind this hilarious variation right here. Now, let's go over some more examples so you can see the chunks in action. El nuevo apartamento de mi mejor amiga es fabuloso. Tiene de todo y encima una vista al mar como de película. La comida de su mamá es una maravilla. Si te invitan a comer allá, no dudes en ir. Maravilla and de maravilla are exactly the same. The only thing is that we use de maravilla mostly to talk about how something went, not how something is. La interpretación de Elizabeth Moss en The Handmaid's Tale es impresionante. Nunca me cansaré de decirlo. Apart from this, there are 2 more options I'd like to go over. That is the very emphatic, indescriptible, and extraordinario. Take into account that all of these expressions are intrinsically a bit exaggerated and passionate, but in such a natural and common way that most people would use them one way or another. En mi cumpleaños, me comí un cheesecake con hierbas chinas indescriptible. Tenemos que volver a ese sitio para que lo pruebes. Midnight Children es un libro extraordinario. Me dejó queriendo leer todo lo que ha escrito Rushdie. Now, do let me know in the comments which of these alternatives resonates with you the most. Número 2. When increíble means impossible. Now, sometimes what we actually mean with increíble is what it actually means, not credible. Check out the following example.
¿Te puedes imaginar que la temperatura del agua estaba cerca de los 10 grados y aún así estuvimos nadando todo el día? No, imposible, se volvieron locos. Bueno, es que parece mentira, pero fuera del agua hacía un calor intenso, así que una cosa compensaba la otra. ¿Qué que no me lo creo. ¡Qué locura de clima! When substituting increíble, if you're going to use the following: imposible, parece mentira, no me lo creo. Make sure you're not talking about something awesome. You're talking about something hard to believe, even if it's hard to believe because it is so awesome. Let's check out some more examples. Esa montaña es impresionante. Yo no creo que podamos subirla sin entrenar antes. Parece mentira, pero después de todo el estrés y el apuro, al final dio tiempo de sobra para hacer la maleta. No me lo creo. Alejandra salió de la cirugía hace 3 horas y ya le dieron de alta. Alert! Se volvieron locos can be conjugated for anyone. So you could also hear me volví loca, nos volvimos locos, or any other conjugation, and it will be just as common. The idea here is that whomever we're talking about either did something increíble or felt an emotion very intensely. It could be anger, fear, excitement, happiness, you name it. Therefore, I could say something like: Cuando llegamos al Airbnb y vimos que estábamos a 2 minutos de la playa, nos volvimos locos. Pensábamos que estábamos mucho más lejos. Remember to check that link in the description, si no lo has hecho aún, to access our free Essential Spanish Chunking Kit, filled with many more important and useful chunks like this one. Número 3. A curse word to substitute increíble. So, here's that chunk I said was my favorite. Since it does include a curse word, proceed with caution. I use this all the time among friends and family when saying imposible or no me lo creo just falls short. Which tends to happen pretty often since life does like to play games with us, doesn't it? ¡Me tienes que estar jodiendo! ¿Qué pasó? Estoy desde ayer pendiente de que no se me olvidara tu regalo del viaje. Me puse una alarma, lo puse en la puerta para verlo al salir y aún así no me lo traje. This chunk, me tienes que estar jodiendo, might be the younger Venezuelan version for this feeling. I'm really not sure if other Latin Americans say this exactly. I do know, however, that they will have their own version and that it might too include some curse words. For example, here in Spain they say estás de coña with the exact same meaning. Also, it uses very generic words, so everybody will understand you if you so decide to use it. Other situations that use this for include when you come back from the supermarket with a bunch of stuff except what you went to the supermarket for in the first place. Me tienes que estar jodiendo. When you've been telling the people that live with you to stay away from your last piece of cake and still someone eats it. Me tienes que estar jodiendo. When you're finally on your way to the beach for 3 days and the weather forecast says rain for the entirety of the trip. Me tienes que estar jodiendo. Review. What can you say when increíble means amazing, fabuloso, de maravilla, impresionante, indescriptible, extraordinario? Now, what can you say when it means impossible, imposible, parece mentira, no me lo creo? And if your age, personality, and context allows, what's that curse word chunk you can use instead? Me tienes que estar jodiendo. If having alternatives for increíble has improved your relationship with Spanish and your ability to feel free within the language, how about continuing this lesson with me and learning how to substitute the opposite feeling? Learn what you can say instead of no tan bien when someone asks you how you're doing. Click the image on the screen and I'll see you there.